The first question I had was if there's an apex, that is the Rubicon to frequency. That is when I get to a point, this is the height of it. I don't think so. I don't think that there is a Rubicon when it comes to frequency upgrade. You understand? I do not think so. And also, do I believe that you can drop from a certain frequency? You see, you can drop the material of that frequency by dropping the essence of that frequency. But because you have been there before, it's easier to recalibrate yourself. It's like a rubber band. If you stretch a rubber band, you're taking that rubber band beyond its limits. A new limit has now been created. But if you leave that stretch, the rubber band goes back. But when you want to take it further, it wouldn't take that rubber band more stress to get to that. So you can have that sway. It's an energy. It's energy. Sometimes even with this connection, the connection, let's try it now. As I'm talking, after a while, you realize that the frequency will cutting. So things can affect frequencies. So many things can interfere with it. So it's possible that there is a rising and a falling. And that is when you lose the essence. But as long as you are still that person, I think I want to put a balance to this thing we have been teaching. What you think, you create. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you become. Then, this is the new one I'm adding. What you embody, you sustain. So this last one creates a balance. What you embody, you sustain. As long as you embody that frequency, you sustain it. And it is a new dimension to thought energy and the science of attraction. If I fail a class, don't I have to repeat that class? Even though my mates are ahead. If I write an exam and I fail that test, do I need to get a promotion? If next year I fail, do I need to get a promotion? But people will appellate that I'm stuck. But I'm just facing a test I've never passed. Do you understand? People will appellate that I'm stuck. But I'm facing a test I've been unable to pass. And most people fail this particular test in life for the rest of their life. You understand? So we are the ones looking at the external picture and volume. But most people in that spectrum of that test, they keep failing that particular test. They keep carrying over that test for the rest of their life. And then, for the rest of their life, it becomes a struggle. If I can understand your question, you're asking if you've left that frequency for a very long time. Let me know if I'm getting your question correctly.
Whether a long time, whether a short time.
A short time.
Exhausted.
You are exhausted of trying because of the test for a while and there'll be no results about it. And then you get frustrated. What's your question in this context?
Is this setting you back completely? Like, I know you can start again.
Yes, EK.
But then is this setting you back completely in the sense
Okay,
that
yes, I get.
extending
Yes,
the timeline?
okay. Let me explain something to you. Are we all in harmony in this conversation? Yeah. I think Moses was called Musa, right? Yeah. Good. In the Quran. You're a Muslim, right? Musa at one point was called by the Creator. The Creator called Musa and said, while Musa was still in the palace, he told him, please, go set my people free. Musa didn't do that. He left and he went to the desert or forest. That was where he saw the burning bush. So, in other words, in the Chronicles of Time, Musa was called when he was 40 years old. I want to show you the calamitous consequence. Listen to this, of delay. Musa was 40 years old when he was called. Or Moses, if you're a Christian, was 40 years old when he was called. Do you know that he didn't go the next day? Do you know that it took Moses another 40 years to obey that particular burning bush experience? Because of delay, because of love, his beautiful wife Zipporah. She loved him. She said, my love, they are looking for you. You're a wanted man. You're a fugitive. They'll kill you. Your friend, who is now the Pharaoh now, is ruthless. It's going to kill you. She advised him honestly, but it was an honest limitation. She loved him and she told him not to go. And Moses obeyed her for another 40 years. He eventually decided to face his vision at age 80. And you know that in the Chronicles of Time or the Exodus of Time, people lived, their lifespan became shorter. There was a time it was 800, 700. During the time of Moses, it was 120. So most people believe that Musa or Moses didn't enter the promised land because he spoke to the rock, he did not hit the rock. You know that theory. But Moses was due for death. If you were called at 40 and you stayed in the wilderness for 40, you delayed for 40 years, you're already 80, right? And then through the wilderness, how long did you spend? 40 years. So total is how long? 120. Moses died when he was meant to. So let me tell you something. If you go back to relax, there's one thing you cannot control: the Chronicles of Time. Every time laws cannot be achieved. And it is a ripple effect. So when people say, I want to indulge now, it is only what is left. Do you understand what I said? So you can bounce back and say you want to come back right now. It is very possible. But there's a passage of time that you have to obey. A king will have to die for a prince to be a king. First off, it is practicing that gets you perfect, not practice, number one. And number two, you said something, and I think if it wasn't that tough, everyone should be able to achieve it. What you said, the ability to come out of this reality, that is what I'm saying right now. I want to live in a higher frequency, and I remain there, even though my current reality says otherwise. That's what makes it difficult. If it wasn't that difficult, it should be for everybody. In mind engineering, we don't say what we see. We say what we want to see. So our consciousness is not woven around the things that we see. I'm not here. I wish I can explain that statement. But me, I'm not here. When we're in Benin City, please, today, our Lagos chapter convergence just commenced. Our Lagos branch, they started their convergence today. There's this lady that she's with us here. Is it amazing? Esther. Yes. She's in Lagos. She says she's going to join them over there in Lagos convergence. You see, I'm not here. This is why it's difficult. Why do you think Christ said, "Oh, you men of little faith"? Can't you just, in fact, let me tell you how powerful this works. If it's as small as a mustard seed, what he just said now, if you are a Christian, you have heard it before, but they taught you as faith. If you understand Hausa, you've heard something called Farengini. You know what is Farengini? When I say someone has Farengini, what is faith according to the Christian book? A substance of things hoped. Do you know what substance? Substance is not something substance is tangible, not intangible. It's a faith is substance of things hoped for. And evidence, my brother, in the penal code, in the constitution, in the criminal code of our country. Evidence is what you can see. So when it says is the evidence of things not seen, that's what makes it hard. That is, I am not seeing this reality yet, but I'm living it. I'm holding on to it. That's why it's difficult. If it wasn't that difficult, like I said, everybody should be living it. And that's why it's not for everybody. That is why the knowledge is esoteric. That is why it is not common. It's not something, people say it, and some people know these things we are saying. But the practicality of it is where it gets really serious. Haven't you heard faith before? When they called you, that, let me say, when they called you and they said something calamicious to you, how did you react? Did you have faith like a mustard seed? Is it easy? It's not easy. When you hear that challenging news. So it's not an easy thing. Let me tell you why this is coming now. And there's a reason why I don't want to take it, because there is a level I see this topic. You saw when he brought in that slide, that levels of the mind. That slide. That was his favorite slide when I taught this 3 years ago in Benin City. That particular slide of lines. If you check my videos of 3 years ago, that was his own favorite slide of that teaching. You know why? I cannot teach this without sounding esoteric. That's why I'm not teaching it. I cannot teach it without going too deep, because there is a level I understand it from. It's like when you call a professor to teach you parts of speech. Trust me, you will not hear now is the name of any person, animal, place, or things. So I tried as much as possible to put the science of attraction together in a simple way, but I could not. Because we have lived it. We have experienced it. How? Let me tell you, he gave an example. People will start suspecting your source of income and your results, that your output in life. If you're not going to that stage yet, then there's something wrong. You've not gotten it yet. So, my brother, it is difficult. The practicality of it is today. When he was teaching, he gave you something. Do a self-audit. What is your current frequency financially? Anytime you charge this amount, the client, they don't pay. If you charge this amount, they don't pay. There are people they pay it to, but they don't just trust you enough to pay it to you. What are they seeing that is making them not release this money to me, but they will release to someone else? Someone told, is it here or somewhere? Someone told the story, is it here? That, I don't know who told the story, that they called him for a contract. He came and he gave a fee, and then he left. Someone else came and charged almost like that same figure or a little bit above. They gave that person, the person went to call him to come do the job. When the man saw him, that he's still the one to do the job, he was surprised. The same person I gave him. Why, what did you see in me? Why didn't you give me the job? Why do you think you would take that 100,000 naira to your church and feel like the biggest man to your pastor? But if you stand before some other men of God, you will lie down with that 100,000 with humility because of how you perceive them. Your auric feed. Their auric feed. When they sit, you know that, don't worry, let's not go into details. But what I'm saying in essence, the practicality of this is where the work is. All these things we are saying, yes, it can be cliche. You can live here and not be stoic enough. That is why when we started the first 2 months, remember, you see, this has been a journey. Some of you didn't even know. We talked about intentional thinking for 2 months. I don't know if you remember. To be intentional about your thought. And we went into emotional intelligence for 2 months. What you think, you create. What you feel, you attract. Now, the science of attraction. Many of you don't know the process we have been taking you through. You don't know the journey that it has been. So I advise some of you to go back to YouTube, start watching some of those clips. How we talked about intentional thinking. We went there, talked about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is what will make you understand that what is happening around me should not make me. So even though there is a storm, it does not affect myself. Something wrong may happen to me, I'm not something wrong. The ability to create that dichotomy about your emotion is the emotional intelligence and the stoicism we taught you all this while. Exactly. That is why we had those first series of teachings before this, because it will be hard to comprehend. So it's tough. It's not an easy journey. Like he said, in the next 3 months, no magic will happen. No magic will happen, because what created this you was consistent. What created this you took years. It takes intentional efforts to undo. Deliberate efforts to undo. It's not laying of hands. It's not fasting and prayer. All those things can help you. They can enhance you based on your belief. But it takes intentional decision. Changing everything about yourself. There are 50 trillion cells in your body. They renew themselves. Cells, they eat each other. Okay, let me know. Let's not go into that details. Thank you very much.
Welcome to my
You know little about me. But if you can go somewhere, you can go somewhere and just tell someone, I met this guy. Is this. You might start talking about physical, and then talking about, then you go into some other aspects. For things that you don't have to see to know you. Oh, I think this guy must be in this level financially. Okay, you can rate me. My vibe. Some people call it vibe. Some people call it aura. Some people call it, some people just go to a place, just find, they're always lucky. And all these things are not just figments or facade. They are accumulated thoughts and emotion that has become you.